Definitely that it's not too late. And that whether you're 5 years old or 50 years old, God wants you.
Yeah.
He chose you.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Purpose Report with your host Marley Morgan. Today we have another special guest with us today. We have Abby Cebula from Boston, Massachusetts. She's a fourth year on the cheer team, majoring in media studies with a minor in psych and business, and a daughter of the Most High. So welcome, Abby.
Thank you so much for having me, Marley.
Yes, I'm so excited you're here. So we're going to start with 2 icebreaker questions, and we're going to do it a little different this time. We have some actual questions that we're going to go through for the first icebreaker and then move on to the second before we hop into the questions. So if you want to pull from any of those stacks. That's a good one because I don't know. Well, all cards are in there. Okay. If it's not, you can just pick another one.
No, I like this.
Okay.
I like this.
Okay.
What would make you feel closer to me?
Oh, okay. This is level 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The D's, like the D level. Okay.
Deep.
Okay, deep. Okay. Let's start it off. Closer to you. Probably if we just hung out more.
Yeah. No, I would definitely agree. And I love that we hang out like so much around God.
Yeah.
Of course, because like at AIA or at Servant Team, we're always talking about God.
Yeah.
Love God. But obviously getting to know you on a level like who just Marley is as a daughter, not just in like the professional working-based role.
No, yeah. Okay. Should I choose one too?
Yeah.
Okay. Or what do you think I'm most qualified to give advice about?
You're someone who's very resilient, and I've never in my life met anyone more busy than you. Yeah, you always show up with a smile on your face. So maybe whether that's time management or just like how to have a positive outlook even when life is really crazy is something I personally admire about you. So I think you definitely give good advice about that.
Yeah, and I think I would probably get advice, or people should get advice with you about like you're just always like so joyful, and I know that like that doesn't mean like every day is perfect, but just like always finding like things to be like grateful about and have gratitude about, like, and just smile and just be happy even if like things are not what they may seem. So to just ask you, how are you able to just always show up with joy?
That's so kind.
Now the second icebreaker question, or official second icebreaker question, is if you could go back and tell a less mature version of you one thing about Jesus, what would it be?
Honestly, it would be that Jesus isn't scary, which I know is a little bit unique, but you know, I didn't come to my faith until I was in college. I was 19, my second year of college. Yeah. And I had both an incorrect and a negative view of like what it meant to be a Christian, what it meant to be a follower of Christ. Yeah. And I look back at myself now and I'm like, so where did you get this information? Yeah. This is not true. Like, there's nothing better than feeling the joy and the love of God. Yeah. So the number one thing that I would tell myself is just go for it. He's not scary. Yeah. He wants you. We're created to have a relationship with him. And because we're created for him and to do things for his glory, I know it's scary to like make the jump, but life is so much better when you have all that God has to offer you. And
we're going to talk a little bit about cheer too. I just see it happens on the cheer team. How have you been able to kind of like find Christian community on the cheer team? Was it because people were just bold about their faith or asking questions, or like how were you able to find that community there?
Kind of a mix of both. 2 of my former teammates that graduated last year, who were also my roommates, were people who were super deep in their faith, went to church every Sunday, part of Bible studies, went to AIA, all those things. And it was kind of the first time in my life living with them that I experienced someone who was not only Christian, but actively practicing, actively reading their Bible in the kitchen every morning. And so every day when you see someone do those things, like, it was just having them both on my team and also my roommates and being just such kind, inviting people just kind of made it hard to ignore, because I do feel like, especially with you, like I would say the same thing, when people are so strong in their faith, it radiates out of them. And like I could see Jesus radiating out of them.
Yeah.
And I wanted that.
Yeah.
And now, like, a lot of times I'll lead prayer before practice or before games. And so the role that they filled for me, I feel like I've kind of stepped into that now that they've graduated.
Yeah, and what was your step like when you were kind of like leading up? I know it was a lot of like seeing like this representation of like, oh, this is what a Christ follower can look like. What kind of led you to like being okay, like, no, I really want to make that step and like give him my life also, and like also feel what you all feel?
One thing that I really appreciated about them is that they always were inviting but not forcing. You know, when they were trying to get me to go to church a lot of times, and there was a lot of times where I said no. I will be 100% honest, but they never made me feel like I was less than for not going.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously, like, when the shooting happened here, it was really hard for everybody in this whole community, as I'm sure you know. And I have this, like, one moment where I just felt so terrified. Like, my mom literally called me and she's like, do I need to come get you? Like, I was so scared. I was so panicked. There was just so much. But I had a professor put it this way. It's like, even though, like, whether you're close to a situation or not, like, UVA's our home, and it's like someone comes in and destroys your home. And regardless of, obviously, everyone has different relations to it. It was really hard for me, and I walked out of my bedroom after literally locking myself crying for like 3 hours on the phone with my mom. And they were sitting at our kitchen table with their heads bowed in prayer with the pastor at our church, and I just literally, a little creepy, but I just like sat there and watched them pray, and they said amen, and they were so calm, and like we were in the midst of all this chaos, and I was like, how are you guys just okay? They're like, well, we're not okay, but like we have peace in the fact that God is going to be with these people. God is going to be with us. And so even though there is all this chaos, we can find peace in Him. We can find community in church. There was an extra service that they went to, and I was like, I need to go to there because I have no peace, just chaos. And it was just seeing in the midst of feeling so broken and terrified, seeing people who were just so sure that God had a plan. I was like, I need a plan like that because my plan, nowhere near that. So that was kind of my like come to Jesus moment, really. And that Sunday afterwards was the first time I ever went to church.
Wow. And how was that, like, first going to church, like in general, or just like in a long time, or just like your first time going to church, period?
It was, so I'd been to church for my cousin's confirmation and First Communion and funeral, and I think maybe like one wedding or something. So never for the purpose of listening to God's word, worshiping Him. So I was a little scared purely because I was like, at the time I wasn't a follower of Christ. I'm like always like, who's this girl walking in pretending like she knows these people? Because I didn't at the time, of course. But I felt so welcome in the church, and like when we were worshiping, all the lights are off, people are singing and they have the words up. I don't know how else to describe it, but like I literally felt like Jesus was standing next to me, and He was like, welcome home. It was just like a whole body. I know it's so cliche. No. My whole body was like, yeah, you're meant to be here. And I really haven't missed a Sunday.
Well, and how important was that for them to kind of like still be firm in their faith, but also be like knowing that you weren't a part of that area of their life yet? Like how necessary was the way they approached it for you to be able to like want to like feel invited? Like how important was that for you?
I think that the whole reason I did end up asking them if I could join them in church was because of how open they were to me as someone who wasn't a believer, and how they loved me so much even though I didn't have that common ground, and how the door was always open, but if I didn't step through the door, it wasn't like, oh, like we can't deal with her. And like I think, you know, my best friend from home, she grew up in a really strict church home, and church was a punishment for her. So like she would get a bad grade, and that meant an extra hour at CCD on Sunday, or like, you know, you talk back to your parents, and like you walk to church instead of not. So I'd always seen like going to church as a punishment. And it was the first time I had seen it not as a punishment, but as something that brought them so much joy. And like they said, they just wanted me to have that joy, and that's how I feel now. I'm like, how could you not want to go and just be so happy with the Lord? So I think the fact that they were just so patient with me and let me come to them as opposed to berating me. Made such a huge difference.
And it was that kind of like your journey going into FCA as well.
Okay. Same thing. They had gone and I hadn't, and I had gone to church for a couple weeks, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to come try to go to AIA? There's food, play a game. Love food, love games." And same thing, like getting there and talking to Vince and Nancy and Connor, and how just from that first time you go, like, people are just so happy that you're there. Whether you're on the first day of your faith journey or even, a believer's there's so much joy going there because everyone's just so happy.
All the time.
I would miss an AIA for an accounting exam. I'm like, no way, I'm sitting doing accounting right now. But all my friends, I check my God, I'm like, they're having so much more fun than me, I can tell you that much.
Yes, oh, that's so good. I feel like, FCA has been just like such a good and like necessary part of like my time here at UVA. Even like before, like when I first got there through Fantasia, I wasn't like on the team officially, so I was like, she invited me. I don't even know, like she just invited me one day. I was like, okay, trust her, so okay, food, fun, games, okay, other people in sports, fun. And they were just like, and I was like, look, but I'm a city manager, so I'm like, I don't know if I should really come. Like, I don't know if they're going to be like, you're not really with us. And they were just so welcoming. And I was just like, oh, like, okay. Like, they were like, support, like, oh, like, we wish you the best. Like, we hope that you do. But even if not, like, you still come. You're still invited to this. And just so welcoming. It was just like, oh, wow. Like, it was just like, it's like, oh, they want me here. They're excited that I'm here. Like all these, and we could talk about God and like actually like grow. And like meet other people and like hear their stories. And it's just like, this is a place to be.
No, I love it.
So I always ask the people who are out of state, like, what even brought them down here to UVA?
Honestly, the weather. I lived in Massachusetts my whole life, and winter's like so long. It's 8 months long. It's literally was 37 degrees yesterday when it was 60 here. I was like, sucks for you, Mom. I love you. But so I kind of like, the reason I applied to a lot of schools were because I wanted to be further south. Like the closest school to home I applied to is University of Maryland. I didn't even want to go there. There's a good trip program, so I was like, oh, if I don't get a TVA, no go there. But I really did feel like UVA was one of those places that had everything. I was really challenged academically, which was super important to me. I could cheer here, but it wouldn't be, the center of my life. I could have a life outside of my sport. And obviously, Grabs is so beautiful. Like, it just took my favorite parts of all these other schools and put them in one spot. The only thing I wish it had was it was easier to get here because it's, as you know,
the 2 flights.
It's real hard to get here from home, but other than that, like, I honestly love it here. I'm so happy that senior in high school me made a choice to apply and come here.
And how have you been able to kind of find like your identity out of cheer, like know that like this cannot be the center of me? Like, how are you able to navigate that?
Honestly, I think that I didn't navigate that until coming to college. My whole life growing up, I've been cheering since I was 5 years old, was cheer. Like, I would go straight from school, drive 40 minutes to practice, and then go to practice till 9:30 at night, go home, wake up, do it again the next day. Like, there was nothing, like, cheer was my priority. But I think, as you know, when you come here and you're challenged really hard academically, you're like, I actually can't put my whole life into my sport or I will not survive. So I feel like I was almost forced to have an identity, but in a good way. Like, for the first time I had friends that were, not just in my sport. I had friends in my dorm. Like, I loved living in a dorm, which I know is an unpopular opinion, but I loved it because I had friends there. I went to dinner. I was so used to eating in my car on the way from school to practice. Like, even when I was in middle school, my nanny growing up would bring me food and I'd eat on the way to practice. I'm like, no, I can sit and have dinner with my friends and talk about things that aren't cheerleading or not be so stressed. So I feel like I was a little forced into not having it be my center, but the good kind of forced.
No, that's so good because as people come on and they talk about like having the identity outside and feeling like so much freer, not like feeling like I have to like, because there's like all this pressure, like this one thing has to be greater, like, or if not, then like I'm going to be perceived this way, or just all these different things. So just like how freeing it becomes much more. It's like with the sport when it's like, whether I cheer today or not, like God still loves me, I'm still joyful, and like I'm not just so like honed in on like if I don't be able to do this, like that changes who I am.
Yeah, and I definitely think that in my faith journey, one of the biggest things that's kept me grounded as a person is the fact that nobody can give me an identity besides God. God made me. I'm his daughter, and he's the one who gives me an identity. Cheer doesn't give me an identity. You can't give me an identity. What people say or think about me, none of that is my identity. My identity is daughter of King. And it's been so comforting to know, like, you know, Cheer's over, and I'm not panicked. I always thought I was gonna have like this big mental breakdown. I did at the end of high school when I was leaving my all-star program. I was like, so what is defining me? And I'm like, what defines me is God. Not Cheer, not an ABA student, not my job I have post-grad. God is what defines me. And so I feel so much peace knowing that I am graduating and stepping away from Cheer now.
You've been able to see kind of like God move through you, like in Cheer.
I think I can honestly thank Cheer for God in this sense. I know that's how God came through me. Like he used people on my team to get to my heart when I was someone who was really closed off to him for so long. And through my team and through my teammates, like it was just that constant knowing that he was there and that he was tapping on my shoulder, even though I wasn't necessarily turning to him. And of course now that I do, I had one of our first years. She told me like a month into the season, she just like came up to me and she's like, you inspire me so much because I can truly see the Lord in your heart. I was like, that is the best compliment anyone has ever given to me. And just knowing that the people I had looked up to in their faith journey, I can be that for some of my teammates, and like I can lead prayer before a game, lead prayer before practice, and people just know like if I need a God moment, like Ab's got me. Like I think that people in Cheer brought me to Jesus, and now I feel so blessed that I get to do the same. I get to invite people to church. I've invited so many people to AA. There's more people, and that makes me so happy. Because how could you not want Jesus?
I know it's like once you like know him, it's just like everything's like him. It's like it's just like he's just so like everything, and he's just like it's just like you just want people to just like know like no, I'm telling you like none of those other things like this is the medicine. This is everything, and it's just like. I know, I just love like seeing people just like so on fire because they just like I just love when people just get it. I just want everybody to get it. I just want everybody to know like this is where it should be. It's good stuff. What made you know like I want to express it boldly and I want to just like I want people to be able to know that like I love Jesus.
That's a good question. I think one thing is I do personally think that you change a lot as a person transitioning. I know, especially in this past year of my life, I've gone through like just a lot of transition in my faith, in my life, in my sport, and I think really when I fully just not necessarily decided but felt called to be so bold with my faith was kind of at the end of last season. You know, I'd gone to AA, gone to church, having to invite people, but wasn't necessarily super bold and out there. But when I was kind of like toying back and forth, like there's a point where I didn't know if I wanted to cheer my last year, just had a lot going on, and I was praying about it, and I obviously tried out again this year. Then over the summer, I was praying about whether or not I should, you know, try to be a captain for the team, and whether or not that would be helpful, or if I was even in a good place. And in my prayer about those things, I realized how many parts of me were just broken and how like my patience not there, and that's not a good way to be a leader. And you know, like my attitude, that was something I really struggled with, and I let a lot of little things really get to me. And so I felt called to be a leader on my team, but I didn't feel fit to be the leader yet. So I really just felt called to like be in the prayer, be in my Bible, listen to podcasts
Yeah.
to build myself and correct myself.
Yeah.
And I think that in doing that, it's helped me be able to say, like, I've worked with God to be a leader.
Yeah.
I'm a leader on this team because God helped me.
Yeah.
Like, God is my leader, and I'm leading to Him. And so, like, I'm the one who's like, hey guys, we're going to go pray. Anyone who wants to join, please join. If you don't, that's fine. Sending just text message in the group chat, like, hey, AA tonight. Anyone need a ride to church? Like, just doing those moments.
Yeah.
Because now that, obviously, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But I feel so much more fit to be a leader because I worked with God on myself.
Yeah.
First. Before trying to be like, oh, Marley, you gotta do this or whatever. I needed to do a lot of work on myself.
Yeah.
If that kind of made
because our pastor this past Sunday talked a lot about in participation with God and not like going to do things on our own and then like presenting it to Him like, oh God, like look what I've done, but just like because He doesn't need us, but like He wants us. And so just how important it is to be like a participant in Him and the things that we're doing, because essentially if it's not like built on Him or with Him, then it won't last.
Yeah.
And
I would definitely say, you know, one of my favorite worship songs is Firm Foundation.
Yeah.
And like the parable of Matthew that just talks about when you build a house on sand, like storms are gonna come.
Yeah.
Winds are gonna blow.
Yeah.
There goes your house.
Yeah.
And that stinks. You gotta rebuild it up over and over. But when it's built on a firm foundation, on a rock, obviously the rock being Christ, like storms will come, winds will blow, and you'll remain.
Yeah.
And what I think like is so impactful about that is that God is so truthful, obviously throughout the Bible, and He doesn't say everything's going to be perfect when you follow Jesus, nothing's going to go wrong, we're all going to be happy. Like, He doesn't say that. He says no, storms are going to come. Things are going to go wrong, but I will get you through it. And so I feel like in that moment, like thinking again, all the way back to my first moment where I was like, yeah, I got it. I need Jesus. It was like we were in the midst of a storm, but they were able to get through it because they had their firm foundation on Christ. And I felt like I was never getting through it because I was built on sand. And now like things happen and like I'm like, no, like God has a plan. I don't know what it is. I wish He told me. I really do. I love that. But like I think like you said, participating is like I'm doing everything for His glory. I'm trying to get to His plan. Not my plan. His plan. So I do think it's like so important to just in everything you do remember that it's for Him, not for yourself.
And what about like came to your faith and maybe you've experienced a storm after, like I know you were talking about like in the summertime, how did you know that like no, like I don't have to go to like other things or just try to do this on my own, like no, God, like I have God now, and so like I can look to Him to like He is where my help comes from.
I think like now that I understand the Bible a lot better, when I see like powerful verses or stories in the Bible, like that's so comforting to me. And so especially when I was new to my faith and just new to the Bible, like, I would use the Bible app that has like the little categories, and you can pick like I'm anxious right now, like give me a story in the Bible about that, teach me about it. And so being able to like instead of turning to panic in my own thoughts, be like, okay, like I need to open my Bible right now. I'm gonna literally use my Bible app that says I'm anxious right now. Tell me what to read. And just sit in His Word, have a conversational prayer, and just be like, God, like we need to chat right now. And seeing God not as a big scary figure, but as someone you're in relationship with. And you're able to say like, I am scared right now. Like I'm not okay right now. Like, can I just talk to you? And a lot of times I felt like I had no one to talk to. Like, what, my pillow? Like, that doesn't do anything. God can do something. He'll do something about my heart. And just knowing that, like, I always have someone, even if I'm all alone, is so comforting and a feeling that I really didn't know I was missing.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things is to know that, like, nothing is new for God.
Yeah.
Like, there's always something in the Bible that I can go to. Like, there has not been a time where I couldn't go to the Bible and find something.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, it makes me more excited to go. And I'm like, because I know I'll find it in here. And I'm, like, looking up, okay, I'm feeling this way. Like, where can I go read? And I read this way. And I'm like, oh, like, look how you came through for them, or like just more like peace about like no, I actually will be okay. Like things will work out, and to like truly feel like no, like they will. Like you did it for them, and to know that like He's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and forever. And to know that like if you did it before, you don't have any problem like doing it again, or just like it's just so much peace to know that like nothing gets new for you. So there's no time that I can come and He'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't know, I never experienced this, I've never done it before. But to know like, oh, I got that covered. This is the verse, and then it's like He just always like He's just so intentional. Like even so when you feel like is this even gonna like be like am I even gonna like get what I need to get out? And it's like I always do, and it's just like to be loved is like to be loved by God. It's just like I don't know, it's just a feeling that like it's just unexplainable to just have someone love you so much that they like the details and things that you think, oh, He doesn't even care about this, and He's like, actually, I do.
He cares and He knows.
Yeah, He knows.
Even if you don't tell Him, He always knows.
Exactly. But to talk back about serving team, how was that moment for you when you did get invited after kind of like stepping into your faith while in college and being able to be a part of a team like that?
I just felt really grateful to learn more about God, the Bible, what it means to be a disciple, because a lot of these things were brand new to me. And when I met with Nancy from FCA Weekly, she always said that I was one of her favorite people that ask questions. Because I'll never forget, I asked her this question. I was reading Kings, and I was like, why do they talk about how long these people lived? Like, why? She's like, nobody's ever asked me that. She's like, I've been preaching the gospel for so long. No one has asked a question. And so another reason I feel so welcome in that community is because I bring a different perspective and different questions. Like it pushes other people in their faith the same way that they push me in mine. Because I'm learning something new, but that doesn't mean that I'm less than because I'm learning something new. Because you're never going to know every part of the Bible. Someone's always got something to learn. And if you say you know every part of the Bible, like clearly you're not reading it. Because I read the same story and I get a different every time. No, okay. What is some encouragement that you would give to someone newly walking in their faith? Definitely that it's not too late. And that whether you're 5 years old or 50 years old, God wants you. He chose you. You are chosen to be on this earth. The Bible talks about how God knew you when you were in your mother's womb. He knit you together from the very second that you existed. And so that's what He wants is a relationship. He's not asking you to be perfect. He's not asking you to be, the best Christian in the world on the first day that you ever come to Him. All that He asks is that you do. And I think that I always thought that because I didn't grow up in faith and I had a lot of negative thoughts about God, that He didn't want me. It's like, why would He want this girl who's like been saying no to Him for 19 years? Like, why would He want me? But He does want you. And so that's like my number one thing is like, you are always wanted by Christ. Even if you feel like nobody wants you. God wants you. And that's so comforting for me to know that He chooses me every single day. So I guess my one piece of advice is just like let God choose you. Let Him. Because He already did. Whether you like it or not, He chose you. Just like let Him and lean into Him. That's really good. That's really encouraging. We are at the end of our segment. We have our two final questions. What are you doing on purpose daily, and what are you doing on purpose for your life? On purpose daily is just spending time in prayer. sometimes it's really easy to go, okay, wake up, say my prayer, go on about my day.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I say my prayer, go to bed.
Yeah.
But just trying to be in that conversation in everything in the middle of the day, being like, hey God, like, let's chat.
Yeah.
Just being in relation with him at every moment. I feel like I have such a better attitude when I can take a breath and be like, I need to go pray for a second. As opposed to just like having him in the beginning and the end of my day. No, he's constant. So like, being with him daily, constantly. So prayer is super, super important.
And is that for your daily or for life?
I guess both, honestly. Like, I think that what's so great about prayer is it's an anywhere, anytime kind of thing. And so even if you're on vacation and like maybe you forgot your Bible or like, you know, you're running late and you might not have the time to sit down. You always have time, I know, but I know sometimes it seems very daunting, but like prayer is so available. And you know, our church talks about how in everything you do, you need to pray first. It's like even when I sit down and take an exam, I'll just like pray. And it's like, it takes 20 seconds. And so daily I try to do it, and I'm not perfect. I mess up a lot, as everyone does. But I think like the way to have a purpose in life is to start by making each day just a little bit better. So I guess I took your 2 questions and made them 1.
But perfect. Daily and for life. That's what you do on purpose.
Exactly.
It's different. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I had so much fun.
I had so much fun. Thank you so much. I'm excited to listen to myself. I've listened to other people, but now I'm like, I choose to start.
So, thank you all for tuning in to the Purpose Report. We can't wait to see you next week. Bye.